Hello, everyone, and welcome to the An Eye for Horror podcast. Tonight on An Eye for Horror, I'm I'd like to welcome a very special guest, best known for playing Roland Kincaid in A Nightmare on Elm Street Parts 3 and 4, where he kicked Freddy's ass all over Dreamland, as well as appearing in shows such as Night Court, My So-Called Life, and Martin, to name a few. But also is the writer and creator of Socrates and founder of the Giving Back Corporation, Mr. Ken Sagoes.
Hello there. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How about you?
I'm doing well, and I just want to thank you for letting me be one of your first guests. I'm thoroughly uh, grateful for that. I know what it's like to start off in this world, so I hope that maybe I can help you become the great interviewer that you're going to be.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being one of my first guests. And Socrates, such
Yes.
such a fun read. It was. I really dig the characters. And
Well,
like
I thank you. For those who don't know, Socrates is my first comic book. I became famous because of the horror world. The horror community is a very large lawyer community. So I want to write something fresh, new, and not do a remake because you've been getting a lot of remakes that haven't been so good. So I wanted to write a comic book, which I'm going to parlay into a film. And so that's why, for all those of you all who are listening, I'm pleading with you to please go and buy my comic book. I don't know if you're going to put the where they can go up. They can go buy the comic book, but if you buy the comic book, this helps me get closer to helping me make my short film, which is going to parlay into a feature film. And it's about a bird. This stars a bird that has he's back for revenge. And, his eyes turn red. He talks. And I'm going to do the voice of the bird. Gotta love me. Gotta love me. His name is Socrates. And you're going to love Socrates because when you make him mad and he gets ready to kill, his talons grow out like razors. And they're very sharp. And they go and he goes into you. And and he's a lover. Everybody loves Socrates until you anger him. So
so. Oh, sorry. So don't piss off Socrates, basically.
don't piss off Socrates. But Socrates was brought back to life, and he can't take revenge on those who actually um, did some bad things to him. But he can take advantage of the ancestors of those who did something to him. And he happens to be his home base tree happens to be near a college campus. So that's why a lot of the ancestors, I mean, the descendants of the ancestors who betrayed him and was abusive to him. So he wanted to take advantage of those.
Very nice. So in a way, Socrates is almost like Freddy in that he's back for revenge. But
I like to believe that what I did is I took Freddie, I took Jason, and I took all of them and put them in an entity, which was a bird. And so there's a part of all of them in there. And, for people who don't know, when I first came to Hollywood of Los Angeles, I worked at Universal Studios and I happened to meet the great late Mr. Alfred Hitchcock, you know. And my first movie, that horror movie that I watched was The Birds. So I got a chance to meet him in his last days and not really talk to him, but he kind of like in passing encouraged me. And then later on, prior before that, in the 70s, there was a horror movie called the Black exploitation movies called Blackula. And I happened to have met the great William Marshall who played Blackula. And then later on, as you know, I became a dream warrior in Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street. So in this movie, in this here comic book, I give homage in my own way to these three legends. And so um, and so I had to write it right. The pages had to be really great pages. You're going to see some great artwork in there, and Socrates is comical. He's adventurous, but he doesn't. Excuse my French. He doesn't take shit.
Right on. Like
It's a new comic book. It's a new wave comic book. There are horror comics out there, but I like to believe that this one is special because it's a bird. And who have seen life more than the eyes of nature, especially from the eyes of the bird? And so that's what Socrates is about.
like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I have some questions here. What was the inspiration for Socrates?
I grew up in a small town. I was born in a small town where we didn't actually live on a farm, but we did have farm animals. So, and sometimes I love nature. I used to like watching nature during the changing of the season and stuff, especially birds. And then when I grew up, I actually went over to a lady friend of mine's house who had an African gray parrot, which is what Socrates is, an African gray parrot. And the parrot just looked at you, right? So I just joked with the parrot. The parrot just looked at me, and so I walked over to the cage one time, and the parrot said, it scared the shit out of me. And so from that day on, I never forgot that little incident. And so that parlayed into my thought. It became creative. And most people don't know I am a writer. I am an award-winning writer, and I used to be a staff writer for Paramount. So I know how to put stories together. And so I'm directing this short film, which is going to be a feature film. I got two legendary actresses that's going to be in there, but I can't give their names out now.
Fair enough. Socrates in the comic book is an urban legend. Were you influenced by any urban legends? Well, you wrote Socrates.
I've been, I love good movies. I love good movies that have good stories. I love movies that where the actors have to really work, that there's an art in the character in telling the story. And so, and I like movies that got adventure, but I really like a villain. I really love a villain. And so, that's kind of like where Socrates came from. It has a lot of good variables in there about life. And I have it as a three-parter. So I want it to be like a series like Nightmare on Elm Street. I want it to be a Socrates part one, Socrates part two, and Socrates part three. So that's what I wanted to write, something that could be a franchise. That's why the catchphrase that Socrates always say, you gotta love me, gotta love me, you know. And so I got little things out. So if you go to the website to buy the comic book, you'll see some wonderful posters in there. And each one of those posters was created by different artists. There's four posters that was created by four different brilliant artists. And
So
yeah, and that one, which I love because it was very creative. I don't know how long I can keep that because Socrates is on top of some memorabilia of legendary horror icons like Jason, like Freddy, Chucky, and he's on top of them. And his catchphrase is, "You gotta love me." I got T-shirts that are going to come out saying, "You gotta love me." And anyone that buys the comic book, you get a sticker I'm going to send you this sticker. I don't know if you got one yet. It's just got out.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
sticker, a sticker. So, and I do have some other items. I have some skateboard decks. So, and I'm doing all this. None of the money comes to me, except that I'm trying to make my short film. And also, it's very important that in 1997, I founded a nonprofit organization called the Giving Back Corporation, where every year I pay for 10 kids books when they go off to school. And so that's where 95 of my signatures go when I'm at the convention. I don't go for me. It goes to inner city youth for me helping them. I send kids to summer camp every summer. And I enjoy doing the things for young people that I didn't have when I was growing up. So that's my way of giving back. And for the horror world, I feel that I owe you something. So I can't like give you each something, but I can give to some young people who may give you something by their education. I'm a big fan of the education. So, and this movie is dedicated to you. So it's a horror film.
Hell yeah. And I would say buy this poster where you can. It's and the comic just help support a great cause. The sending kids to camp and college, paying for kids' college books and whatnot. And this poster is badass. I'm just saying. So pick it up while you can.
And and if you want to know where you can order it, you can go to thesagoscompany.com. That's THESAGOES company, COMPANY.com. Thesagoscompany.com. And if you like, just just send me a message on Facebook and I will send you a link. I promise you, you won't be disappointed with this comic book. And matter of fact, if you don't like it, you can send it back. And if you buy a comic book and a poster, I call you and thank you personally. And a lot of people don't think it's me. Yes, it's me. Because to put it blunt, I'm trying to raise money to do my short film. And so I need your support. I need your help. And you're getting a comic book, something that's valuable over $100. You're getting something for like $20 or $40. And I'm going to sign it. You can't beat that.
No, not at all. And it's a really good comic book, and it's a fun read. And Socrates is I love Freddie and Jason, Chucky, and all that, but Socrates is he's one bad bird. You don't piss off Socrates.
He got a piece of all of them in him. I put it like this way: Socrates has studied all the great villains, so he knows what to do.
Okay. Are any of the characters in Socrates based on real people, either in your life or in general?
I like to believe that everything that I write, I pull something from my life. Now, I do know that if you go to the website, thesagoscompany.com, and there's a video of the young man that's going to play the lead in Socrates. Now, I patterned that young man's character after Kincaid. So you're going to see a young Kincaid when the film come out. And it's going to be at around a college campus. So that's kind of like the Dream Warriors. I use the same format as they directed the Dream Warriors in the same format to do Socrates. And that young man I really believe he's going to be very big one day. I just think that he's a young Denzel Washington in the making, you know.
Love Denzel. Okay. What appealed to you about the name Socrates?
I didn't hear that. What was the question?
Oh, sorry. What appealed to you about the name Socrates?
Socrates?
Yeah.
Because Socrates was like a um, back in the day. What was it like? A philosopher.
Yeah.
And I feel that in so many ways, Socrates the bird is a philosopher. He comes from, uh, he goes back to the art of slavery, where a voodoo king put a spell on a bird for him to go and follow his son who had been captured as a slave. So and that spirit of that bird has gone through the times, and that bird, Socrates' eyes have seen the the hatreds of life throughout the years. And so all that hatred that the bird had seen has possessed him, who want to take revenge of those who betrayed people and took advantage of people and who was cruel to people. What Socrates like is love. That's why his catchphrase is "You gotta love me." That's all he wants is love.
Like that. Well, um, hmm. I, I had a question about a character, but then I don't know if I want to spoil it for people, you know. So I don't know if I should ask this question
You
or
can
the
ask
people.
you can ask the question.
Okay. Will Socrates' dad Moses come back?
What is it? What was what about Moses?
Oh, well,
What Moses is like through the time when Socrates the bird was uh the voodoo king had put the spell on Socrates. Well, through the time, the ancestors of the young kid that was taken, his ancestors took care of the bird through time. So Moses is the latest of the ancestors of the voodoo king. And so he adopted this bird as his child. But Moses saw that he was getting too strong. So that's why he buried him or killed him.
okay. Um, is his character going to come back, or is he
I would like to believe yes. It's just like you thought Freddie was dead, but he's back. You thought Jason was dead, but he's back. You thought Michael was dead, but he's back. You thought Chucky was dead, but he's back. So yes, Socrates is gonna have life too, but
cool?
he's gonna be a little different from everybody else. He's going. I think Socrates is unlike the others. If you just leave Socrates alone and love him, he won't bother you. You know.
Okay. Why did you decide to make Socrates an African gray parrot?
Because at the time, the African gray parrot, of all the bird world, the African gray parrot is said to be the most intelligent. The African gray parrot is the geniuses of the bird world. The African gray parrot can actually make sentences. It can actually talk to you. It can carry on a conversation with you. It can sing. So, that's in real life if you get an African gray parrot. They are the geniuses in the bird world. And that's why I chose them.
Cool. Now, how powerful is Socrates?
Socrates is very powerful. He's brilliant, and when I say powerful, it means that he can figure out things. He can plot. He knows how to emulate. He knows how to imitate. He knows how to like. He can pretend with his voice. He can mimic voices that you think there's something else out there, but it's really him. He's just a brilliant bird.
Cool. Okay. And I gotta say I love this artwork too. It is fantastic.
Thank you. I just think that it's all an award-winning film, and this since this is my first movie, my first comic book, it's going to be a classic. Everybody gonna want to have this here. This is my very first comic book, and I am signing them when you buy them. I'm going to personally sign them, and the poster. Like I say, the posters you can pick from four posters, and each one of them are brand new original posters that just came out specifically for this comic book. There was someone who made a poster from the UK, someone who made a poster from New Zealand for me, and here in the United States. So there is wonderful artwork in here. In the back you could see uh, who are the artists on the book, and on the posters you'll see who the artist is on the poster. So I do give them homage.
Very nice.
So we're gonna get to some nightmare stuff now, right?
Right. Okay. What's your favorite Kincaid line?
Oh right, now it's my dick that's killing me.
I have to add, fuck you. You sit down. I love
Oh
that.
yeah, I had a lot of them, so I can't say I really did have a lot of them. So it was not just one. I had really, I do have a picture with all of my lines in them, and I think it's about 20. Yeah,
Right. I do it so I don't have to look at your ugly face all the time.
yeah, yeah.
With your stuff. Okay. Jeez. Did, did, I'm trying to ask a question about part four. Freddie, did he really get resurrected by dog piss, or what was it Christian's fear that brought Freddie back?
In my eyes, I think the dog was possessed, and his piss was strong enough, to bring him back. I can't say I didn't write that script, but what I would say,
Right.
I think it was creative, and I thought it was brilliant that the dog name was Jason.
Absolutely a nice, like, I don't know, inside joke, I guess, or something.
Yeah, it was an inside joke. It was an inside joke, which I
Okay.
think it was brilliant.
Oh, for sure.
See, I'm wearing this scarf for you, and it's hot. I
Oh
just want you
man.
to know that. I did this just for you, Mr. J.
Well, I appreciate that. You can take it off, if it's.
No, 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 no. I'm gonna do it. Tell your mom I said hello to. I'm sure she's watching. So hello, mom.
I will.
Okay.
Um,
And tell mom mom, go buy my comic book too. I'm gonna sign it for you.
I will.
All right.
Um, what would you have liked to see happen to Kincaid had he lived longer in part four?
I would have liked Kincaid to defeat Freddie and become a role model for young kids, not just African American or black kids of color, but just for young kids, because a lot of people looked up to Kincaid. And Kincaid's dream was what I feel was just a natural, reachable dream. His dream was strength. His dream was talking. His dream was facing his fears. And the other dream warriors, they wanted magic. They wanted, something else. But Kincaid, his dream was reachable. And so, and if Kincaid had lived, I would wanted him to be a role model so young people could see how to face their demons, how to face their nightmares, and to really be a dream warrior by following your dream and reaching your dream and not giving up.
I like that. Okay. Okay. In Nightmare 3, Sorry. Oh, um, in Nightmare 3, the the Dream Warriors were taking Hypnosil, a fake drug. So do you think in part four, Kincaid, Kristen, and Joey stopped taking Hypnosil, or maybe? Or
I don't think they didn't take it because, in Nightmare 4, we was no longer at the hospital. We were no longer at the mental institution, I think is where we were. We was no longer there. So I don't know if we ever took it.
oh,
You
you
know, we if I could memory serve me right, they were going to give it to us, but we went in the dream world to fight Freddy before we took it.
oh, you're right. Man, as a horror fan, I should know that. Or,
No, 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 because you know what? That's that. The wonderful thing about you, and I want to thank you for this. You're asking me questions that's never been asked to me before. So you're making me think. So now I got to go rewatch the movie thanks to you. All right.
no problem. Okay, what's your favorite kill in the Nightmare franchise?
Favorite kill?
Yeah,
You know
one
what?
of them.
I think when Freddie told Jennifer, "Welcome to prime time, bitch." I just thought that was a classic kill. And I also like the kill when the lady in four when she became a roach.
Yes.
So I mean, but there was all great kills in there. I don't think my kill was that original, but I think what I was doing was original. I would have loved to if we had been able to fight a little more, with me and Freddie, but we didn't, which wasn't in the script. So you have to do what's in the script and you move on.
Right. Okay, here's a question. If Kristen had been asleep, would she have been able to save Kincaid and Joey, or maybe?
If she had been asleep,
Yeah.
I don't know if Kristen could have saved her, because I think you got to realize Freddie he could manipulate your dreams and he could control your dreams. And I think the one thing that Freddie was weak at, and I think Kincaid was about to figure it out, is that his weakness was when you was not afraid. It's when you faced him. That's what made him weak. And I think the nightmare came is because you believed what was going to happen to you. And he had a way of, for a split second, to make you believe that this was right and this was true and this was real. But if he had stayed with the dream, I think all of us would have lived, but we was kids. We was kids. We hadn't lived life long enough to understand what was the obstacles that was going to be put before us. We didn't know how to jump over the hurdles correctly. You know.
Yeah. Okay, since you do not have many lines in part four, do you have a favorite line from part four?
Freddie's back.
All right, I gotta go with
I
yeah.
had,
What's up?
yeah, I had a few good lines in part four. It wasn't that many because I wasn't in there. What was it now? 15 minutes, but
Maybe 20. Yeah.
maybe 15 screen time, maybe 15.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
It always seemed like they sort of kept Kincaid and Joey around. They were like, and Christian. And I just want to say, I love Patricia, but Tuesday night was awesome too. I thought.
Of course, they both was very good. Tuesday night came in and she made Kristen her role without without dissonant Patricia Arquette. So she made Kristen hers, and and she did it in such a way that you didn't, for me, you didn't think about Kristen, but you still respected what Kristen brought to Nightmare on Elm Street and the Dream Warriors. So no, Tuesday night, that lady did her job, and she did it damn well.
Oh yeah, and as a fan of the characters, it was just I know it's a movie, but it's just like sad seeing them killed off so early because we took a journey with the
But,
characters
but,
in
but,
Dream
but,
Warrior.
but do you understand why it was so sad? It was sad because you had good actors in there that made you love them, that made you believe in them. So that's what it was sad. Not one of those characters in there was so bad that you wanted their ass killed.
Right.
You, they was good actors. Each and every one of us, we had a job to do, and we worked very hard to do it. And a part of that job, which made it work, is that in real life, we had become friends. And so that friendship showed in the film, and it worked in the film. I have to give Chuck Russell that credit,
Oh,
and he set that up for Rennie Highland to do the same thing. So that's what it was. For me, I had no problems in it. We had some wonderful actors, unknown actors.
absolutely. Um, real quick, do you have do this to five favorite horror movies, if you have that many?
I don't have five favorite horror movies. I just basically have two,
Okay.
and no, it's three. I like The Omen, Damien. I like that. I like The Birds. I like that. And I still feel and love Blackula. I like that.
Nice. Cool.
So,
If you don't mind, I have to give my favorite Kincaid line for part four.
okay.
Yeah, woo! Take that, motherfucker! Sorry, I love that line. And then he
Do
gets
it
killed.
again. Do it again.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
woo!
Woo! Take
Take
that,
that,
motherfucker.
motherfucker!
Fucker. Okay. That's a good end.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Sagoes. I appreciate you taking the
My
time.
pleasure. And for the fans, remember, please go to thesagoscompany.com and order my comic book. And if you need to find it, just type in Ken Sagoes, thesagoscompany.com, or you can send me a message on Facebook and I'll send you the link. I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate all of y'all out there for supporting me. Help me get these comic books sold so I can make this movie that you're going to love. All right. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you, Mr. Sagoes. Take care,
All
sir.
right. All right.
Bye. And